If you're overwhelmed by the thought of trying to homeschool high school, I want to bring you some peace of mind today by talking about 4 realities that are going to make it much easier to wrap your mind around this idea of homeschooling high school. My name is Allison Morrow, and I'm the founder of goodschooling.net. Now, I'm not going to tell you today specifically what they need to learn or how many hours you should be doing things or how to calculate credits or create a transcript because those are not the foundational things that you really need to think about when you're getting ready to homeschool high school. Those are all important, but they're not the foundational things. There is not one specific body of knowledge that every single person in the world is expected to have. There is no such thing as an official education for high school or for elementary or for middle or for preschool or for any other level. Okay, so one of the things that tends to stress us out as homeschool parents is this idea that there is some specific level or standard that we're supposed to attain, but there's not. When you homeschool your child for high school, you have so much freedom. Even if your child is college bound and there are specific types of classes that they need to take, 4 credits for English, 3 credits for math, stuff like that, you still have a ton of freedom within those boundaries for what those classes are going to look like. And in fact, colleges tend to like high schoolers or homeschoolers a lot because they don't have an education that looks just like everybody else who's applying to their college. They may have a completely different background in science. They didn't necessarily take biology and earth science and chemistry or whatever the standards tend to be. They're taking different kinds of classes than you would typically see in the public high schools. And so they bring a totally different flavor to the college. Colleges like that. So don't get caught up in this idea that there is a specific body of knowledge that you have to teach every single one of these things and check every single little box. That's not how it works. The second thing to remember is that you need to prepare your child for the future that they want. Now, yes, we do sometimes need to insert some life skill type things that we know that they're going to need, even if they don't think that they're going to need them, right? But when it comes to academic learning, if your child is not college bound, then you need to train them with your high school homeschool setup with whatever it is they do want to do. Maybe they want to go into a trade. Maybe they're very entrepreneurially minded. They want to start their own business. Maybe they want to take a gap year and they want to go volunteer overseas with some, mission trip or organization or something. You need to make sure you're taking your child into consideration when you decide what they're going to do for high school, because by this stage of the game, they really ought to be very invested in their own education. They should be the ones doing a lot of the deciding about what classes they're going to take and what those classes are going to look like, what they're going to cover, because they need to have a vested interest in their own education in order for it to really stick. And even though you may think, oh, well, they don't want to go to college now, but someday they may want to, and so we need to make sure they have everything that they need, that's not true. Because point number 3, college admissions can be a lot more flexible than you may think. And there are a lot of different, well, I maybe shouldn't say a lot, but there are multiple ways to get into college where the kind of education they had in high school is not necessarily that important. Particularly if your child goes on to take a gap year and to travel, or if they run their own business for a while. If they then want to go to college, colleges are going to look at that and say, wow, that's some really interesting initiative there. There's a child who has really experienced a lot of unique situations and experiences that all these other kids coming straight from public high school have not had. And if your child decides to start with community college, you can quite often transfer from community college into your state college system very easily. And the transcript from high school is not nearly as important at that point. So don't get caught up in this idea of, I have to prepare them just in case they decide to go to college. Because point number 4, if you just focus on teaching them how to think and how to learn, then they will be prepared to learn anything that they need to learn in order to do whatever comes down the path. If that means going to college and they want to get into a particular program and that program requires that they have math classes that they never took, or science background that they have no experience with, well, if you've taught them how to learn, how to find information, and how to be self-motivated to go learn that stuff that they need to learn, then they'll go do it. And then they'll be able to get into that program. It is far more important that we teach our children how to learn and how to think critically than it is to try to stuff their head with a bunch of facts. So think about not just what you hope your child does with your future, but what they want to do. Focus your high school planning around that. And then make sure that at the core of what you're doing, you're really hitting hard the concepts of how to learn, how to think, so that they are prepared to learn anything else that they want to learn in the future, either just for their own enjoyment and edification, in order to get a job that they want, in order to get into a college program or a trade school. If they have that base, then they will be set up to do anything. I hope that this has brought some peace of mind to those of you who are getting ready to homeschool high school, or maybe are in the thick of it right now and are struggling with fear about making sure you hit all the right things and worrying that you're not preparing them well enough. It is far more important to set your child up to be a learner than it is to set them up as someone whose head is full of random stuff, right? Be sure to hit that subscribe button and keep an eye out for our next video. And in the meantime, have a great day. Bye.